Hey guys, Mystical here. Um, ma- I've never really made a video like this. I didn't really think I had to, but I think it's time we have a chat. Recently, I've been playing Valorant in preparation for the Open qualifiers occurring on January 5th, and I was like, all right, cool. If I'm gonna give it a fair shot, obviously, I'm gonna play the game more, lock in, get some scrims, do some things with teammates, just to improve. I've been playing ranked for I've been playing this game for 5 years, and I've never once had like any type of issues where I couldn't figure out how to improve, how to get better, how to rank up. It was always at least like a part of my game where I felt like I could get better. For instance, recently it's been mechanics. Prior to it was just understanding the game, things like that. The last 3 weeks of Valorant, out of the 5 years that I've been playing this game, have been completely different. It's all, I don't know. The rank system is terrible. We've got inters, trolling eaters, racist, AFK throwers. The system isn't giving me any good maps. For instance, I just made a tweet on my Twitter where I'm getting Haven. I haven't played Haven in 3 weeks. I've played, how much is this? About at least 30 games, 25 to 30 games. I'll link that. And I haven't gotten Haven once. I mean, that's not even talking about the actual gameplay. It's just the ranked itself with the individuals. So I think there needs to be either harsher penalties for racist. Like, you need to get banned for trolling. Like, we there's got to, the way Vanguard works on like PC, there's got to be some way, right, where we can get like, I don't know, a way to verify who's logging in. And like, if you're logging into multiple accounts on one device, like more than two, like you should get like a soft ban or something, even hardware bans at this point, because that's not fixing it. You also shouldn't be able to queue without a mic. We're in 2026 now. If you need a mic, they're very reasonable and affordable options out there. I don't think that it's fair to the players who are in mid elo, such as Diamond Ascendant, to be able to not have any type of communication and progress their learning of the game because their teammates have no mics. Now you're trying to talk and type, hope you have good typing, and if you can't type fast enough, well, you're kind of cooked because it's not really communications that get through. Small timings in a game like Valorant, which matter a lot, are missed, and you just lose. You just have to lose, and none of that's in your control. On top of that, I wanted to get into some things that I was looking at just on Tracker because it was pretty insane to me to see a lot of these like pick rates and statistics. So let's go over it real quick. All right, so I hop in right here, and we're looking at the agent usage and stats, just in general. So this is Radiant. I can specify this by Radiant, Mortal, Ascendant, Diamond, Plat, Gold, etc. Can do regions, which I'm gonna select North America because that's the region I play, and in all maps and in the competitive pool. If we look at the played rate, there's not a single game that you'll play where you're not getting a Clove or Omen, which is fine, but the amount of Clove that is played is unbelievable. The amount of Chamber that is played is unbelievable, especially because it's just so easy. It's so simple, right? When you nerf agents like Vice to the ground, to where she gets no info on her flash and her wall is easier to trigger, you nerf Cypher trips so bad that if an enemy walks in the trip, it does nothing. Like, you might as well not have the trip because they can just walk through and kill you before you can even get a ping that they're there. All right, Killjoy is just, it's not a viable option because of the range of the utility, and you like have to coordinate util. Deadlock, you can just get lurked on every round, and with no communication from your teammates, you just lose. And then, I mean, what are the other options? Sage is another. Sage's pick rate, I will admit, is low here, but she's definitely getting played a lot more, and individually too. And I don't think that's a good sign. Jet and Reyna are still atop the game. I've been saying it for a while, and all the threads that you see where they say you should delete an agent, I think Reyna has to go. It's too much of a problem to be able to flash in where the enemies have to kill that utility, and you can just get out of jail instantaneously and go forward and take more space instead of go backwards. That's a problem. Waylay is seeing a lot more play recently, and it's because her saturate is overwhelmingly busted, as well as her ult. But I mean, it's an ultimate, so that's fair. But her saturate, you just run in, you could literally knife out, run up in the corrode, right? Like A-Link connector area. Throw the saturate, teleport out, and your teammates just run in on that guy and they can't do anything. Like, that can't be a healthy way to play the game. There's no counterplay to that. The only counterplay to half these would be any type of agent, in my opinion, that would suppress. But if the agent suppresses, that's still not helpful, because now you have to get position and all they do is wait it out and still do the same thing. I mean, Sova's like the only played initiator, and if it's not Sova, it's Fade. Like, all the initiators in a bad spot. We can talk about that next. Sky with no regenerating flashes, and Teo with the hard nerfs that he got, they're just not viable. I think Sky should get a regen flash, or at least a flash back after 2 kills. Same with Teo. He should either get 1 salvo back after 2 kills, or get a regening cooldown or cooldown on his salvo. Because it's unfair. It's not a good situation to be in. Gecko doesn't get played, but I mean, I guess the big thing is Breach and Harbor too. As you look at these, like, as well, it's just, there's no reason you can't play Breach outside of a team situation where you're like, you are queued with the other 4 players, whether it be competitive, whether it be scrims, whether it be an actual match. You can't play Breach any other way because there's no coordination. And this is an agent that relies on heavy coordination to get some success. And Harbor, I personally think he's worse than before. I think that with the changes to his ult, I don't think his ult was bad. I think his old ult was actually really effective. The only problem was there was not really much of a punishing nature to it. I think if you brought back the old ultimate and you made it pop faster, I think that would be really effective for Harbor's kit. And I also think that his new Cove is good, but you need to bring back the Cascades for the little near sight paranoia situation that he has. It's not really effective. It's really hard to get value on that once again. The Cascades made his kit. I can name multiple angles. I can name Icebox on A when you would scale up the orb with the Cascades. I can name Pearl on B long. You'd scale up with the Cascades. Abyss mid, you could scale up with the Cascades. With no Cascades, it's like, what do you play? You just have to play Viper. And wall mid from tower, at least on Abyss, and hope for the best. I don't know. There's no agent diversity. There's no map diversity. You get these same agents every game. At least 2 to 3 of these agents will be played on your team in every ranked game. That's just not a good experience to play. It's very stale. Lastly, I'll get into what I recently tweeted, and that's maps. Like I said, I've been preparing for the Open Qualifier tournament, and I played 2 weeks now. 2 weeks of competitive play, almost 3. And I haven't gotten a single. If you can look at these screenshots, I was getting them pulled up. You look at these screenshots. I haven't gotten a singular Haven game in competitive in 3 weeks. That's unacceptable. Like, you might as well not have it in the pool. So, once again, as I've stated problems and solutions, I'll give a solution to this. I personally think that in ranked, you should have all maps that are in the game that have been created are in the pool. That allows for familiarity to be developed across all maps by all the players. That means that when a map comes back into the map pool, there's not an unwashing period where some players are immediately better than others and abusing newfound ways to work the game because they just know more than you off rip. And I also think that it allows a better fundamental understanding of how Valorant is played overall, right? Because let's say I picked up the game today, right? Most people in unrated and whatnot, they're playing like all these maps anyway, right? Once you get into competitive, you might as well play these maps because your fundamental understanding of how the game would work would increase. The player's skill would increase, the skill ceiling would increase, and players would feel more comfortable on multiple maps instead of possibly insta-locking certain agents on certain maps when they come back into the pool because they don't know what else to play, because the fundamentals haven't been there, because we're stuck playing the same maps and the same thing the whole queue. It would also keep it fresh because you're not getting the same gameplay consistently. I also think that with including all the maps, yes, there comes the question, okay, what are the competitive maps, right? Like what is in the ranked pool? What is in pro play? I think that is where you can have specific maps. You could take a game like Fortnite, for instance. They keep their competitive like loot pool a little bit different than they do the main loot pool. But the maps are the same, right? The things that you can do are the same. I don't think that you should be limited on the ways that you can learn the game due to competitive play. I know it's counterintuitive because I'm coming from the perspective of a competitive player, but I think the game would thrive better, like in a better situation, if everyone was forced to learn the game as the game has been created and not when they pick it up, if that makes sense. I don't know. I guess I just need to get these things off my chest. Ranked, if I was a developer, I'd first look at ranked because that's where most of the scene, I guess, plays if they're not a pro player or anything like that. So the ability to not be able to coordinate with your teammate, I think communication is number one thing that should be looked at. Because if I can't communicate with my teammates, it's just not an enjoyable experience. If I have to IGL every game, that's not an enjoyable experience. What if I want to come home after a long day of work and play the game of Valorant? And I can't because I have to IGL and I have to like get hella involved, hella stressed, and I have guys who are just running down A every round. It's not a way to relax and play the game. So I'd look at communication and either require communication or do a no communication queue and a communication verified queue. Things like that. I'd also look into 5-stacking. I personally believe there should be 2 queues. There should be a solo queue where you can get your elo by solo queue and only solo queue, and that has its own leaderboard. And then you could do like a team queue. I think a 5-stack queue could also do one, and then a 2 and 3 stack could do theirs as well. Where you could queue 2 and 3 in Immortal, you could 5-stack and get your own elos of 5-stack, or you could solo queue. I think that's a way healthier alternative than getting 3 players who are trying and 2 players who are trolling, right? Getting 3 players, in some egregious instances, 3 players who are queued together, and then 2 solo players going against 3 and 2. And Immortal, it fixes the duo and a solo issue because that's pretty much how all the games in Immortal are. There's 2 duos and there has to be a solo because you can't 3. I think 5-stack would improve because the game was intended to play with 4 other friends. If I can't play with 4 other friends without being penalized, why am I playing the game? At its core value, why am I playing the game? Like, to me, it doesn't make sense. And then solo queue for the people who do want a solo queue so that they don't have to deal with all this stuff that people who might be trying in a 3 queue or a duo queue or a 5-stack have to deal with. So I'd look into the rank system first. From there, I'd maybe look at balancing because the game is not balanced, and we used to get way more patches and updates now, or back then, than we do now. I know New Year's patch is coming out. Hopefully, it's a good patch, but with the verbiage that was used in the prior patch notes, it doesn't seem like much is going to change. So, I don't know. It's just a video for me and my concerns with the game. Hopefully, it makes it to someone because I love the game. I want the game to succeed. I want to keep playing the game. I want to tell my kids when I'm having children that this game like got me through like some shit. Like this game was fun. This is what I used to do. But I wouldn't feel proud of that if it was just killed by its own developers. That's not, I don't know. It's a sad thought to have. But let me know in the comments what you guys think. And yeah, reach out to me on pretty much Discord or Twitter at Mystical1X. And until next time, I'll see you guys later. Thank you guys for listening in.